This video comes as a direct challenge and request from one of the viewers. Now, what you're looking at on the screen right now is the Samsung S95D to the left and the LG G1 rocking my completed settings to the right. Just so you can see, it does get a world better by comparison to how it was looking, okay? And again, we'll do the full comparison side by side, yada yada. This is more like a little teaser. However, I was asked to do a comparison rocking my settings versus the garbage that we have on the LG G4, which is their Vivid mode. So I will go ahead and show that comparison. And voila, here we are in Vivid User. We're gonna go ahead in real time because, you know, everybody that doesn't like what they're about to see loves to complain. I'm just fixing the results. So we're gonna go ahead and hit reset in real time so you see as well. There you go. It gets cool, bright, and ugly. Take a good look. This is going to be one hell of a comparison. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. The first thing we're going to notice is the Samsung S95D to the left is just going to have better colors overall and virtually everything. Notice how all of the information in the sky is clipped out in Vivid mode on the LG G4. It is unwatchable versus all the detail in the world on the Samsung S95D. This is something that you can't fake, but a lot of people will try to tell you that what you're looking at is not the genuine article because they don't like what they're seeing, again, to which we say tough. Just look at that difference right there. But we're going to go into an actual example here, okay, and we're seeing Toy Story, and we're going to go ahead and show just a general scene like this, and you can kind of get the idea immediately. Notice how the LG is just washed. There is no other way to say it. If we pause right here, we can notice that there is virtually no real detail in the grass. It's all one real flat color. I mean, it's kind of, it is what it is, right? We look over here, we see all of the separation in the color, way more than even what's showing up on camera. The depth between the fence, between the hedges, between the shed. You can see sharp isolation lines. This is what creates depth. This is what I mean when I say three-dimensionality. Every corner is boxed off and you can see it pulling out towards you like a 3D effect. This is more two-dimensional by comparison. Again, I'm doing this comparison for the naysayers, if you would believe, that try to say that my settings are nothing more than the dynamic and the Vivid mode settings. Why, there is no real calibration skill going on here. It's just me deciding to make everything 100 on vibrancy and make everything hyper unrealistic. Well, and if you just want the most unrealistic thing, put it into Vivid mode. So now you're seeing what LG looks like in Vivid mode. And again, I will do this in real time because I love being dramatic. I really do, especially when someone's dumb enough to challenge me. Okay, here we are in Vivid mode. We go down. We're going to go and hit reset in real time again so you see no change to the picture whatsoever. That's real time, folks. You can't fix those results. Now keep in mind, this is the LG G4. This is what everybody is clamoring after. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. Best TV of the year, question mark? All of these dramatic YouTubers are getting money. Let me say it again. They're getting money to tell you that this shit looks good. They don't give a damn how it looks terrible in your home. And for everybody who's not a professional calibrator like yours truly, a master TV calibrator like yours truly, it's going to be very difficult. And I mean, next to impossible to get a picture like what I have on the left without an insane amount of calibration. And I mean flippin' insane. The amount of effort you would have to put forward to get a picture like what I have, we're gonna pause right here, would be like, you would have to like, I don't know, run a fucking triathlon. I mean, it's very difficult to do what I do, which is why I unapologetically challenge the entire industry on their methods of calibration, because it is just wrong. It doesn't look good. Now, people also wanted to say in my last video, oh, Quantum fixed the results. He's just propping up that Samsung to make it look better. At this point in time in the video, I will let you know I own an LG C1, a Sony A8G Bravia OLED, Quantum.OLEDs from Samsung, Hisense TVs. I don't care who wins. I genuinely don't have to care because whatever's the better TV, guess what? I will just buy that. Did you hear that? I will just buy the better TV versus arguing and getting mad when I see something about a TV losing or winning. But some people can't handle that. So what I'll do is show you the same cinema mode, and oof, is that ugly. And isn't that about the same thing we saw before? So what we're gonna do in real time with this as well is go ahead to this thing called reset and hit reset on what's a reference accurate look. And when you do that, ooh, my, isn't that ugly? So here we are in cinema, unknown reference accurate mode, and it looks every bit as bad as I said it did and showed it did. I'm sorry, but Up has never looked that dead, cool, blue, ugly, washed. Not a thing. But this is what a lot of purists on the LG side of things are saying. I'm fixing results now. Come on, guys, be better. Please be better. I understand you're hearing new information for the first time, but don't take it like this. Also, if watching this gets you triggered, let's go to Vivid and look at how much worse that would look. People can say like, oh, see, LG has great colors. Everything is overblown. Everything is clipped. Now, the argument made by the commenter was that basically he wants to see my settings against Vivid mode. Well, I'll be glad to show you that I am not a Vivid mode. For everyone who has ever said I am a glorified Vivid mode, look at Vivid mode versus me. Take a damn look. There is a big difference. It's just, okay, I love doing stuff like this. I can't lie. This is like my cup of tea right here. Like, you ever had like somebody who was stupid enough to challenge you at your best trait, your best skill, and like you had the chance to like humble them greatly? Yeah, that's what this moment is right now, folks. And you're watching a royal ass kicking because I'm gonna humble a fool. Okay, so pause right here. Look at the shadows on the building. Notice how you can see the reflections of the balloons because that's realistic. What do we know? You hold a balloon up to sunlight, it's going to illuminate the color of the balloon. And what do we have on the back of the building? The illumination. Now, if we look over here, look how faint and like non-existent it is by comparison. Also, we can't see any darkness or black level indicating that there's a shadow there. It's all just freaking blue. Versus here, it's not blue. And you have the shadow casting heavily on his face and on his face as what would happen if a big ass balloon, fucking a bunch of balloons on a house covered somebody's face. You would see all that. I mean, and just pause here and look at the amount of color detail. Look at the three-dimensionality behind the balloons versus Vivid mode that has none of that. Now, Vivid mode is also a bread and butter mode for people who want a lot of color and a lot of pop and to be wowed by their TV, but they don't have the experience to calibrate. But see, when you don't have the experience to calibrate, you're not going to get drop shadows on the lawn. You're not going to get the ambiance from the sun on the sidewalk. You're not going to get the correct color of their outfits or the three-dimensionality behind all the little canisters of gas, again, or helium in the freaking yard here. You're not going to get the sidewalk showing all of the little debris and stuff like that, dirt and grime and gunk to the effects that you do. These visual effects, like the shadow casting on the sidewalk to this degree, are what gives the image its depth and its perception of a scene. You can see every little blade of grass. You don't have that, again, on the LG G4. Instead, it's just blue. Everything's clipping. Look at that van. Overexposed, clipping. You have no real information. And this is the problem. You have a lot of guys, and I mean a lot of guys, that will bunker down, say my LG G4 is the best. What Quantum is showing is just not true. Well, you can cry about it, but at the end of the day, what I'm showing is true. Now, for this example, by the way, this is going to look wildly crushed, like on camera. It looks disgustingly crushed. You just can't see any real detail. This is because the image coming off of the Samsung right now is so dynamic, my camera cannot capture that deepest level of black. So the blacks are so rich and intense and the contrast is so insane, my camera cannot keep up unless I'm in an HDR profile, which right now I currently am not in, right? Because I'm not shooting HDR. This is the Wonderful World of Wonder calibration disc, right? And if anybody ever knows or even knows when that came out, that was like around what, like 2012, 2013. So again, things were different back then. And you're seeing it here. I mean, look at this example. I mean, notice how you don't have any of the real colors that you're supposed to have. Pause here, more of the same. Carl in this example is clipped, his hair is all wrong. Over here with my settings, you get the shadow detail back in the hairline. You see every little blade and his eyebrows were over here. LG is over illuminating, making it just clip out. You don't have the shadows in his eyes or anything to give any real depth perception. The shadow casting from the sun overhead isn't really doing a good job like it is over here. And again, you can pick out all these little details, but you don't even have to be that advanced and that nitpicky about it. Things you'll notice immediately is foreground detail, being isolated greatly from the background detail to a three-dimensional level. As I was saying, you can see the planes in the background. We're over here, it's faint and it's wrapped with a blue filter. And this will continue for no amount of examples. And I show this off to also show everybody who thinks, well, you know what, if I have quantum settings, what if they're oversaturated, or what if they're garbage, or what if blah, blah, blah. A lot of people will say a lot of things because let me run this back, okay? You need to understand what you're looking at if you're on the opposing side, right? Not everybody who's watching this with an open mind, opposing side. There is an industry standard that is 30 years old and your TV looks 30 years old. I will show this off by the end of this review cycle to such a gross degree that there isn't a soul alive that will ever be able to argue in my direction that bullshit and not know definitively how wrong they are. Trust me, I will drive that point home. And you'll be so sick of it by the end of this, but you'll get it. Because here's the problem I have. When things look like this TV to the right with the LG G4, everything is overexposed and clipped out. And that's vivid mode. This is most consumers go to where they'll go, oh, you know what? I'll just put it in vivid mode because I don't have the experience. But look what you're missing. Look at the car. Look at all the detail. Look at the bugs. All of this, you don't have that detail like you're supposed to have. Now I got a phone call coming in from my wife, so I'm going to pause this comparison to take her call. Hang tight. All right, thank you kindly, everybody. Pardon my intrusion, but you know, family first. Now that being said, back to the comparison at hand. Again, looking at all of the different color, you can see the difference, right? And I point this out so that everybody knows what you are and are not getting. This is the difference between true mastering of your craft and, again, you kind of thinking that that's what the engineers do. Now, we're going to continue on and let some more examples play out. Again, no TV, I don't care what tier, how much money you spend, will look good out of the box. Haven't seen a single one yet where they're out of the box and I don't have to do any work to it. Every single one of them needs comprehensive work. Some are better than others and some are just downright unacceptable. The LG G4 is in the unacceptable category because of how truly bad it is. Now, what I'll do is wait till we get to this helmet scene, right? And that's good contrast right there to show my point. Notice the contrast. I don't really need to point it out. I'm very positive this will show up on YouTube. While colors and color accuracy translation is very hard on video, contrast is one thing that's very easy in a lot of examples, especially bright ones like this, to showcase. Notice how, again, you have the ring of Saturn, very sharp. You have all of the shadows of the planet. You have the clouds in the sky. You have the background. You have everything as it should be. Where on the LG, it's just overly blue and just clipped. You're missing a lot of detail. That is the one thing that I could say about the LG G4 that is consistent. You just will miss a ton of detail. We're going to play the scene, pause right here. And again, he's just too damn freaking blue. I don't know why LG thinks this is cool. And for anybody wondering, let's explore these settings, okay? For everybody like, oh, well, quantum is just vivid mode. Well, first of all, we have tangible proof now that anyone saying that this is vivid mode is seeing an actual vivid mode and how crappy it actually is, okay? So we can shut that down immediately. Now let's go ahead and explore the vivid mode settings even further, right? And see what makes it so bad, okay? The first thing they do is they have auto dynamic contrast on high. Just turning that feature off alone would bring back a ton more contrast. That's just what I know from experience. But we're not going to do that, right? Because I don't know what I'm doing, right? I'm a quack, okay? Another thing that they do that is just absolutely stupid is 7D color. Do you see this? 7D color by default. So they're pushing color as hard as they can and they still can't compete with what I'm showing you right here. Let that sink in, okay? 70 freaking color. And the color is locked to dynamic. So their most vibrant color output they could do. Oh, but it gets even more interesting because under the white balance, cold 50. They normally do cold 20. Cold 50. So they are so desperately trying to make this TV the coldest they can make it. Literally, it doesn't get any colder than cold 50. So that you can see the most amount of like vibrant hues that they could possibly push out. All while, again, if you're under the brightness tab, they max out the contrast to give you that peak brightness illumination crap. And they max out pixel level light. So again, your OLED light is, again, it's maxed out. There's no reason for this to look this bad. And again, this is the default setting. This is what they have. And again, I will show it in real time again for those who think that maybe between me taking the phone call and now, I've reset some things. No, I haven't changed anything. We're going to hit reset and bam, no change in the picture. It looks every bit as bad. We will also, for those That's obviously not the accurate mode, guys. Go over to cinema mode, lauded for being an accurate mode, and again, you'll see more of the same. It is a jaundiced green, ugly fucking picture, and we'll go ahead and hit reset on that too, just for y'all boys, because bam, that's what that looks like. I don't have to lie, I don't have to play games. The Samsung S95D really did just whoop the LG GeForce ass. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and tag my settings back in though, for those in the back who really just need to see this. These are my settings on the G4, by the way. Just in case anyone's not aware that I am the greatest in the world at what I do, which is TV calibrations, I'm showing you. I've shown you their reference accurate mode that looks like jaundice. I showed you their vivid mode that looks like shit. And now I'm showing you both of these TVs side by side rocking my settings. When I try to sell my service for $4.99, there's no shortage of people telling me it's a paywall or, oh, here he is giving another ad. I'm literally trying to help you. Number one, there isn't a single calibrator you would ever hire that could give you a picture like this. They go to the reference accurate based off of Kalman or light space. And what they do is calibrate to D65 white point and call it a day so long as there's a delta error below 3 or lower. Or in some cases, they try to get really nitpicky and get to like 0.25 of an IRE. And all that really means is they're just trying to get to the computer program. But do you know what dictates the picture quality to this computer program? 30-year-old reference standards. Imagine doing anything for 30 years and never once changing because you think that nothing has evolved. Now apply that in the world of technology, where technology in the last 30 years has evolved, and now you see the problem. Now I'm a nice guy. I'm not just going to spend the whole time beating up on that one idiot that compared my settings to vivid mode, because you can quite clearly see my settings vastly outweigh any vivid mode you'll ever find anywhere, and any mode period, on any given TV that I work on. That's just a given fact. However, I'm a nice guy, so I'm going to actually show you guys just a little bit of what the comparison between these two calibrated are going to look like. Check that out. A massive difference in depth. They're very close to one another in terms of the color purple. We pause here. You can notice there's still going to be some differences though. And one of the differences is the saturation of the color red. Way better red here. Green to die for on the S95D. Like, oh my God. It's vibrant as all hell in the best possible ways. The purple up here on his head, so nice. Where the purple up here, just a bit more pale there, right? And then the green, just a bit more pale. The shadows, not as strong on the ground. Remember what we were talking about. The matte finished screen should not have the ability to look this damn good, but it does. And as we're seeing here, shadow casting on the ground stronger, shadows are darker, more contrast and depth in the robots in the background, and you're starting to see what I'm talking about. There is a big difference between, again, out of the box settings versus when you know your craft and hone things, but even when you do that, some things are still going to be apparent. Now this is just one example out of many I will show you with the fully calibrated comparison after this video. But back to those garbage settings that everyone else is doing when they plug and play. Oof, and we're back in vivid mode. Now we're gonna go ahead again and hit reset just again to be dramatic, to show I don't have to fix results, lie, manipulate, or dupe you. It just looks this bad. And we're gonna do it again for Cinema 2. We're gonna go ahead and hit reset. And 3, 2, oof. Oof, right? Now, one comparison that I did that people have taken a grand protest to was one of Calypso and Pirates of the Caribbean. So what we're going to do now is go to that example and show you the same exact thing. So I don't know what chapter it is, so bear with me because I will have to find what chapter it is. I feel like we're close, we're around it somewhere, but I don't know which one. But the point that I'm making with this whole thing is to show you guys in plain facts. Like, listen, what you're seeing on the Samsung S95D couldn't be more or less than the slaughter that it is. Calypso looks dead. Now again, my camera cannot capture how deep these black levels are because I'm not in an HDR profile. I am in an SDR profile because this is an SDR media source. Now, that being the case, I want to show you something really, really incredible, okay? So as you guys saw, okay, get a good look at her face. Okay, it looks really dark here. You're not going to see any real detail. It looks all crushed out. Oh, well, I can't really do anything about that. Camera limitations. However, Remember how I told you, like, in cinema mode, she just looks freaking green? She just looks fucking green. Like, there is no being nice about this, okay? Ready? 3, 2, 1, reset, bam. And is she not green anymore? Nope, she's still fucking green. And again, you can play this scene out however you'd like, in any way that you'd like. The amount of green on the LG G4 in their most reference accurate mode is disgusting. Look at her face. She's fucking green. She literally looks like a cartoon when it depicts seasickness, right? Okay, so again, let's go to vivid mode for our one little hater, okay? And maybe it gets better. We have over brightening pretty much all around. Her nose is extremely clipped out there. I mean, and her forehead, there's just some really ugly highlights happening. But guess what? She's still fucking green. Because look, I mean, because like really though, this is vivid to you. A green filter. This is what we're doing. Look at that girl's face right now. Come on, don't play with me. Come on, look at that. She looks like a fucking pickle. Like, what the hell? This is funny to me. I'm sorry. I know a lot of you guys paid your hard-earned money out for this, and y'all are mad as fuck because I'm showing this TV to be the piece of trash that it is. But I'm sorry. Out of the box, if you're a plug-and-play guy and you swear that your TV doesn't look like this, or you went to Best Buy and you saw the demos that are super heavily edited and put in store mode, which is a vivid torch mode, I'm telling you right now, you're still not going to get anything close to how nice my shit looks. And that's a fact. She's still damn green. Now, if you want to sit there and play semantics with yourself, trick yourself, whatever you got to do, man. But I'm telling you right now, this is the reality. Okay, so the moral of the story, never challenge me again to the commenter who tried to say that I just am a vivid mode, because here's your vivid mode. And we're going to hit reset again because I love being dramatic. And yeah, literally shut up and never challenge me again. Sit down back in your chair and watch the professional at work. Do not try to get up and teach the class when the teacher is speaking. Because at the end of the fucking day, unless you know what I did and how I can do this and do it yourself, you've got no reason to come at me like I'm vivid mode. Just because you don't like that Samsung with Quantum.OLEDs has more saturation than what we have on LG. Because if I pause this frame right here, LG is clipping there, clipping the hell out of that bird, clipping the dust particles, clipping everything. You don't have any color, where here you have your color, you have the bird looking like a fucking bird you've seen before. And again, this falls under, there are a lot of people that damage control the truth. They don't like to hear it, and they want to try to shame anyone giving information they don't like. Toughen the fuck up. I'm tired of this weak, sensitive environment that the world has created through a bunch of different things. And I'm going to just put it like this. I am not here to coddle anybody's feelings. I'm here to tell you the truth about a television. If hearing a television is bad triggers you, you have to look inward as to why that is. That is not a personal issue for me to solve. That is one you need to solve, because you really should just buy the better TV. And the better TV is the Samsung S95D. There is no argument there. There is no path to getting around that. Look at all the clipping in your vivid mode. So for everybody trying to like sidestep me or like kind of like throw shade at me like, oh, Quantum ain't shit. Yeah, I'm that fucking guy. And when you're that guy and you have a bunch of guys that ain't that fucking guy coming at you, you're gonna speak your shit like I'm doing right now. Because you know what? I worked really fucking hard to get here and to know what I'm doing. And yeah, sure, I don't have some of the largest followings you've ever seen or some of the largest views you've ever seen, but my information is ironclad. Not a soul alive could ever test anything I've said and come back with, oh, he just lied. But you can do that with every single person that you watch on YouTube right now about these TVs, talking about the LG G4 might be TV of the year. No, the hell it ain't. It's a WOLED, it's dated, and it looks as much. And I don't care what mode you use. I don't care how you try to rationalize it. There's clipping. There's all kinds of color issues. I mean, the list could literally go on and on. I could be here all day with this comparison. I'm not gonna lie. I have fun with this kind of shit, especially when there are a lot of loud mouths in the comment section like, this isn't a fair comparison, to which I will close the video out and start the new video like this, okay? It's not a fair comparison because I did this. I put LG in cinema mode. I went down to advanced settings. I hit reset. And cinema is known for being a reference accurate mode on the LG, okay? It is not fair for me to do this. Why? Are we to suggest that what LG's got going for them with their engineers is so inferior to what I do that now I need to be the person to put settings in this TV to make it look better? Well, if that's the case, then show respect. Don't sit there and saying my comparison isn't fair, because it is fair, because I'm showing the difference between what every single YouTuber you watch does. They calibrate to those 30-year-old reference standards. They call me out of my name. They pretend like I don't fucking exist and like I'm some crazy hack that's just on about nothing with a fucking aluminum foil hat on his head. When the reality is, I know more than they know about how to get a picture quality, and they can't compete. That's why they have never tried to best me at settings, because they cannot. I dare them to try. No one can do this, because this is not something anyone else but me has created. So how do you fight that? How do you fight an original carbon copy or an original copy? You can't. You can't fight originality. So the only thing they can do is put me down and make me seem crazy, which I'll show with abundance that's just not the case. But let that sink in. Thanks for watching the #1 brand in honesty, and until the next video, see you guys later.